What up, what up? We are here for our Saturday night secret sermon. This is our Secret Teachings of Jesus series where we are delving into the Gnostic Gospels. Currently, we are in the Gospel of Thomas. Previously, we covered the Gospel of Mary in depth over a couple of months. Before that, we went into depth in the Gospel of Philip. That was about over the course of about a year and a half. And then our OG original book we started in was the Secret Book of James. And I can't remember if we covered all of James, but it was pretty early on in the earliest stages of taking on this series. And since then, I have decided that I want to go deeper in these studies and do more. And so I've been setting up a Substack, and I finally got it figured out how to orient it all. Substack is a pretty confusing platform to start, but I think once you're in it, it gets easier. But I'm getting that figured out. And so the sort of extra content that I'm going to do over there is going to be based on like covering more Gnostic Gospels and more Gnostic writings, and also like Zohar studies and Torah, Bible, all kinds of like theological stuff. And then also like isolated spiritual concepts. So like on our channel, we talk a lot about like ancient wisdom and secrets of Kabbalah and spiritual things of that nature. But it's just whatever's coming up in the week through the readings, instead of having like videos that are like set aside to like talk about this concept or these foundational principles or this or that. So I have this new platform that I'm working on to make it so that that channel, that platform kind of is more in an organized curriculum sort of fashion. Also on that channel, I will be giving like impromptu insights and revelations that come to me that maybe just feel like really spiritual, but not necessarily like it doesn't fit into this channel. So I will let you guys know when that's all ready to go, and it's good. It's all safe to follow me, and I'm ready to start making content on that. But yeah, I'm excited to keep you guys posted. So we are picking up with saying 14. So a little bit of context about the Gospel of Thomas. Whereas some of the other Gospels have like dialogues and scenes that are happening, the Gospel of Thomas is strictly focused on Jesus's teachings and the things that he said. It doesn't talk about where they went and what they did and miracles that Jesus performed or his kind of story and the ministry and his crucifixion and resurrection. This is exclusively on the teachings and the sayings. Just as the Gospel of Philip was in that style as well. It was like these sort of paragraphs of cryptic statements that were meant to be meditated on, but it didn't really have any kind of story or narrative through it. So we're in a similar situation here with the Gospel of Thomas. And the portions are not titled because they're so short, so they're just numbered. So we are on, last week we covered saying 13, and this week we're picking up with saying 14. Sometimes they overlap and they're interrelated. I'm not sure if this passage 14 is a continuation from 13 or not, but it seems to have standalone ideas. Okay, so I'm going to read this portion through in its entirety. And then we'll go back and we'll unpack it, because I think that there's some core like Kabbalistic ideas that are hidden within the statements here. But when you hear the statements, they're befuddling. Okay, and we begin. Jesus said to them, "If you fast, you will bring sin upon yourselves. And if you pray, you will be condemned. And if you give to charity, you will harm your spirits. When you go into any region and walk through the countryside, when the people receive you, eat what they serve you and heal the sick among them. For what goes into your mouth will not defile you. Rather, it is what comes out of your mouth that will defile you. So we'll start over. Jesus said to them, if you fast, you will bring sin upon yourselves. And if you pray, you will be condemned. And if you give to charity, you will harm your spirits. When you go into any region and walk through the countryside, when people receive you, eat what they serve you and heal the sick among them. For what goes into your mouth will not defile you. Rather, it is what comes out of your mouth that will defile you. Okay, so when Jesus said to them, if you fast, you will bring sin upon yourselves. So when people talk about sin, like in like language, like logos definitions, sin has always been taught to me as meaning missing the mark. You're missing the point. And when people fast, I think even like now, I think a lot of times people miss the point of the fast. Like, for instance, there's this one person, I don't want to throw them under the bus, but they will fast for like, say, Lent or something, and they'll jump on the fast and they'll jump on the bandwagon. But they're looking for all kinds of ways or opportunities to like break the fast or cheat, or this doesn't count, does it? Or, such and such is doing it where they break fast on Sunday because it's a day of celebration and this and that. And, I'm hoping I'm losing weight, and they get caught up in like the benefits of like the weight loss from the fasting and if they can cheat and if they can't. And when I hear people like kind of coming at a fast like this, it makes me wonder, like, are you doing this from your heart or because you are supposed to, and you're doing it sort of like toilsome and burdensomely, and you're kind of loathing, like loathful about it, like loathsome about it? Like, are you resentful that you have to fast? Are you trying to get out of it? Like, do you feel like you're obligated? And then you're looking for like a benefit of the fast. And really the fast, when we do this, what we're doing is we are consciously choosing to restrict our body consciousness, to starve our ego, our flesh consciousness, and suppress that, and not suppress it, but starve that. And through that restriction of self-denial, of restricting our body consciousness, of restricting our desire to receive gratification, relief, instant comfort, through restriction, we then open up, we reveal this extra light of our soul, and we open up our vessel to receive more light from God. And through restricting the physical, we like deny our identity, the way that we identify with our physical body. And in that way, we become more like the Creator, so that we can fully open our vessel and be in that vibrational resonance with the Creator, to fully receive the Creator and bond with the Creator, bind with the Creator. On Yom Kippur, this is why the fast has the aspects of it that it does. Like, you can't have food or water. You can't, and we all kind of are familiar with fasting, including like no food and water. But in that fast, you're also not allowed to wear leather or wear any kind of oils or lotions or perfumes or makeup and things like that. You're not allowed to bathe or wash your hands or brush your teeth. So like all the physical comforts, you're suppressing every bit of that physical comfort because you don't want to identify with the body. You want to completely identify with your full wholeness without any kind of material additive, so that you are identifying with your soul, the light body, because you want to be able on Yom Kippur to call down, to draw down your new soul in, and you want that seamless resonance with that higher light of your soul, with the highest light of God, to come in through that and bring in that new light and that new powerful pure light through that soul. So the more that you can purify the vessel to be vibrational match to that light coming in, the more you can draw in, the more you can receive, the more it'll stick, right? The more it'll fit. So the point then of a fast is to draw closer to the Creator and to become one with the Creator. Well, if Jesus is with us, we are already with the Creator in that sense. Like we are already one with the Creator. And there would be like the greater purpose is already served. The fasting is a means to an end, and the end is already here. So it would be like you would be fasting out of a sense of obligation or like sentiment, but there wouldn't be like the spiritual technology wouldn't be doing anything that it needed to do, right? It's like the vehicle that takes you to get closer to the Creator. It's like you don't have to drive anywhere. The Creator's already there, kind of thing. So, Jesus said to them, if you fast, you will bring sin upon yourselves. So there was one part, I remember a scene in The Chosen where the disciples were all gathered at Simon Peter's house, and his wife is like trying to make them bread, and they're all sitting around the table and they're asking Jesus questions. And they're like, they're asking him about fasting, if they should be fasting, because they were noticing that they're starting to do things differently than their traditional like Jewish traditions. And so that was redundant the way I said that. And so what he said in this scene, I don't know if this is an actual like piece of Bible verse, but it's just the way that the writers address this idea in the scene. But they were like, should we be fasting? Like, what are we fasting for? And Jesus was like, well, can you mourn while the bride is with the bridegroom? Like when the bride and the bridegroom are in the bridal feast. And so basically he's like, hey, can you be sad when you're at a wedding and the bride and the groom are there and everybody's partying and celebrating the wedding and everybody's like dancing and drinking and having fun? Like, is that a sad, solemn time? And they're like, no. And he's like, well, I'm here with you now. So there's no real point in like, cause like, he's like, why did you fast before? Why would you fast otherwise? Like before I'm here, before I showed up, why would you be fasting in the past, in previous situations? And they were like, well, to bring in Mashiach, to bring the Messiah, to call in the Messiah to come. And he's like, well, I'm here. So there's no, like this, the purpose is already served, right? So I think that in Jesus saying that to people with him at the time, if you're fasting right now, what are you doing it for? Because ultimately, even in perfecting your own vessel through the fast, say you're working on yourself and you're trying to like get over a spiritual struggle you're having. ultimately we're all doing that collectively to bring in the Messiah, to bring the age of Mashiach, where it's the age of inner harmony and peace and fulfillment and unity, right? And so in order to do that, it's like we all have to like go through our spiritual awakening and that soul correction and get into that kind of state of like nirvana, so to speak, and then we'll all be in collective nirvana together. So I think that doing a fast and not having the right consciousness is leading you in kind of a transactional direction. What are you doing the fast for? Are you doing the fast because you are afraid you're going to be punished or else? So then that's not really free will, and you're not doing the fast from sovereignty. You're doing the fast from a state of guilt, obligation, shame. So that there's lack in that. And then if you're doing the fast, you know, just because you're supposed to or this or that, but it's not like, it's not authentic, it's not real, it's not coming from anywhere true, then it would be performative and lacking integrity. But I feel like in this sense, I feel like he's pointing out to the person's intention and consciousness behind their actions. So Jesus said to them, if you fast, you will sin, you will bring sin upon yourselves. So when you're emptying your vessel and you're making yourself, when you're depriving yourself of that nourishment, you're putting yourself in a place of scarcity that's not going to serve the ultimate purpose, right? It's like when, for instance, like all the holy holidays, they all have a remembrance that's attached to them. But when you're studying it from a Kabbalistic perspective, each one of the holidays, like when you're celebrating, like for instance, through the Kabbalah Center, they're very long processions with like lots and lots of prayers and repetitions of certain things, and you do certain activities, and sometimes you eat certain foods or sometimes you don't eat certain foods. But it's not because of tradition or ritual or remembrance. It's because it activates a spiritual technology, but it only happens certain times of year. If you were to eat matzah, not during Passover, it's just a cracker. But if you eat matzah with intention during Passover, it becomes this miraculous substance and a healing tool. So I think that it's like if you are, anything that you do, your consciousness is really what matters more than anything. This is the basis where the root of the action is. It's in your consciousness. It's like, why are you doing it? And do you understand the purpose of it and why you're doing it? And are you doing it with a pure heart that's just fully there to give, rather than, oh, I'm doing it because I'm afraid of what will happen or else? Or I'm hoping to do this so that I can take care of this issue and be over that and hopefully get this. Like, it's like, is it tit for tat, you know, or is it done out of fear? Where's your consciousness in this fast? And is it serving its purpose, or is it out of season? Okay, so Jesus said to them, if you fast, you will bring sin upon yourselves. And if you pray, you will be condemned. Now, if you pray, you will be condemned. What? I thought we're supposed to be praying. I thought that the whole Bible is telling us over and over again to be praying, pray. Have a prayer practice. What about Kabbalah? Isn't it teaching us all these million prayers to do 1 million times a day, and, you know, encouraging us to spend, you know, as much time as possible, like speaking to the Creator, talking to the Creator. So if we pray, we'll be condemned, which reminded me immediately of a recent Kabbalah class that I was taking. And we were learning out of the book, The Wisdom of Truth, I believe, and it was by Rav Ashlag. And Rav Ashlag in correspondence with a couple of his students that he had sent to the United States to raise money to have the Zohar printed, for people for it to be available for people. This was like in the earlier 1900s, I think, somewhere around then, maybe late 1800s. And it was very rare to have a copy of the Zohar. These were very rare, hard to find, very expensive, like very precious, rare books. And at that time, Kabbalah wasn't widely like studied or openly shared. It was like a very secret, sort of, mastery for an inherited, like selected teacher to student kind of thing, and it wasn't like a broadly shared thing. The general population's conscious readiness wasn't there yet, so it was still very secret at the time. So Rav Ashlag had sent a couple of his students to America. Oh no, it was during the early 1900s, because it was during the Depression. And he was sending them there to raise money to print the Zohar. And the student was having a really hard time. And this wasn't just like some like kid student. This was like an erudite, like someone who studies Torah. Like, you know, think about like the Pharisees, like serious people who are scholars, right? Very serious students. And so these are adult men, respected intellectuals being sent to the United States to raise money for their group, their minyan, I don't know what you'd call their school, so that they can get Zohars printed. And they wrote to him. They were struggling in the United States to raise the money. And they were also struggling financially themselves to get by as they were struggling to raise this money. And they were asking Rav Ashlag if he would pray on their behalf, because, you know, he's a righteous person and he's in a position of leadership. So that kind of gives him a spiritual edge when it comes to prayer. So they were asking that Rav Ashlag pray for them and pray that they are blessed and provided for and given abundance and given provisions and all of these things, and they are helped raising the money. And this really upset Rav Ashlag. And Rav Ashlag wrote them back and absolutely rebuked them. And he said, this is real rough to hear if you're a student. He's like, just based on your letter, it sounds like I've wasted all my time investing in you guys and trying to teach you these concepts. Like, it's been a waste of my time and resources on you, my students, because you're asking me to pray that you are blessed, that you are given the things that you went there to get easily. You want them to come to you easily, and you want to raise the money, and you want to, have money for yourselves and have money to be fine, and want money to be, you want me to pray for you to be healthy. And like, for all of us, we're thinking like, it doesn't sound too out of turn, right? Like, it sounds pretty reasonable. Like, God, wake up on this wrong side of the bed this morning, like grumpy pants over here. But basically where he's crashing out is that the deeper, bigger picture has been lost on these guys. Because when you're just a person who goes to church, you want to pray for all of your hardships to go away. You're just a churchgoer. You're just there to sing your songs on Sunday, read a little Bible, feel better about yourself during the week, maybe do something nice for someone sometimes. And you think, oh, I'm a good Christian. But Kabbalists, they see life's hardships and challenges as the gifts that are the heat that melds their metal in the crucible. Those are the times where we have the most opportunity to see where we are lacking, where we feel fear, where we feel doubt, where we're off, where we're not experiencing the wholeness that we are. And so when we are challenged and when we are stretched, this is the only time that our faith even counts, right? When you're on, say, like in one of those places like Muscle Beach in California, are you impressed by people who lift like 3-pound weights? Doing like a little bit of aerobics. Like when you watch those old aerobics videos like from the 80s and 90s, you're like, they're not even like, this isn't even anything that would make like get you out of breath. Like, this is pathetic, right? You want to see people who can lift heavy weights, those champion weightlifters that are like lifting like, hundreds of pounds, and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe that the bar isn't snapping. Like, that's what you want to see, right? Same for our faith, right? When you're like studying Kabbalah, or when you're serious, when you're a disciple of the Christ, when you are a disciplined student, you're being asked to pick up the cross. That's no easy feat. You're going to be going through some hard times and tribulations, and you're going to be seeing what you're truly made of. And it's in those times of uncertainty, in those times where things aren't coming to you easily, when it takes some elbow grease, when things are uncertain, that's when you actually have a chance to demonstrate faith. When everything's fine and everything's hunky-dory and all the bills are paid and there's like, groceries and you've got plenty in the bank and you're not like, not sweating anything, you're like, oh yeah, God is good. Big whoop. Good for you. You remembered to say something nice to God. Everything's easy, right? You're not being stretched to believe, against all odds, right? But it's when we are thrown into the fire that the upper realms, when they see us fighting and believing and continuing to, keep on keeping on and not, giving up and not giving in, and when we still believe, when everything looks bleak, like that's when, the upper realms are like, yeah, look at this faith. It's expanding, it's stretching, it's getting stronger. It's actually revealing more light of the Creator in this world, and it's obliterating this darkness. And so when we pray for things, like Rav Ashlag was like, don't pray for things to be provided to you easily, right? Don't pray for the struggle to go away. The struggle is the opportunity that's going to shape you. The struggle is there as a gift. You're pushing your gift away because you don't understand it. Pray for the strength to navigate the situation. Pray for the merit to understand the gift in the situation. Pray for the understanding and the comprehension and the context of the situation. Pray for the grace to flow through. Pray for the endurance. Pray for the character that you're building, not for the inconvenient thing to stop bothering me. Make them quit. Stop it. Make them quit. Make it go away. Make it stop. It's just like, are we brats? Like, are we little toddler brats that are like asking our parent to make everything better and safe and give us our num-nums, and I want my Happy Meal, and I want to buy this with my allowance and get this for me. Make it stop hurting. Give me a wet paper towel. I want a Band-Aid. Is that the relationship we want to have with God? Or is it that person who is there with you, like you would want a spouse to be your equal, standing side by side? We're going to get through this. I'm going to support you in this, and you're going to support me in this, and we're going to be strong in this together. We're going to get through it and come out the other side stronger for it, more love between us. Which one would you rather have, right? So we so often tend to immediately want to pray the prayer of anesthetizing whatever pain is nagging at us, instead of actually seeing that as raw material that can become beautiful cut gems. So there was an example that reminded me of this. Oh, yes. So there's this theologian, pastor type of dude. His name is Peter Rollins, and he's Irish. And every year he does, I think that it's around Lent, but he does atheism for Lent, because he wants people to take a step back from the way that they approach faith and approach the way that they engage in going to church. But his whole point when he was explaining this whole thing was that so many people show up to church so that, whatever is nagging at them will go away. Make my life easy. Make it a breeze. Take away this inconvenience. Take away, God, fix my pain. Fix my soap opera in my life. Make these people stop doing this. Make them change. And it's like we're praying for all the circumstances to go away and the circumstances to change, but they were there on purpose. God was like, I didn't make a mistake. That was all set up for you. It was to help you. It was to help you grow more patience or more, inner peace amidst the varying circumstances of life, amidst the storms and the highs and the lows. Find that, be able to cultivate that within, right? So people are always trying to pray their way out of their opportunity. And they're missing the point. And it's like they feel entitled to this perfect, painless, convenient existence. And no one ever promised us a rose garden, right? You know that song? So when we embrace the struggles and the challenges and the things that we would maybe very quickly write off as negative, when we embrace those things and we say, pause, what a pleasure, like the Kabbalah Center teaches us to do. Why is this in my movie? What is this here to give me? What is this here to demonstrate for me? Then we are on the right side of heaven, the right side of history. And we are then, at that point, approaching life from a place where we can begin to see how nothing is happening to us and everything is happening for us. So when we can start to be awakened and aware and present when we're navigating any given situation through life, we can go through those challenges and tests with speedier, with more grace, with more ease, because we're able to draw the gifts and the lessons from it. So don't pray. Let's see. So, and if you pray, you will be condemned. Probably because we're praying with the wrong consciousness. Again, it's back to the consciousness. What is the seed level of our consciousness? Are we praying our blessing away and without realizing it because we don't recognize it correctly? And if you give to charity, you will harm your spirits. So the thing about that is, of course, we're supposed to give to charity. But again, go back to your consciousness. Are you giving with an expectation that this is going to come back tenfold? Are you giving out of obligation because you're supposed to? Are you giving because of fear of what will happen if you don't or else? Why are you giving? Is it a transaction before it even starts? Or are you thinking, wow, I've been blessed with this gift. I want to share some of it with someone who needs a gift. I want to share it with someone who's in need. I've been blessed with this. I'm so blessed to have it. I feel I am overflowing and I have a happy and excited heart to want to share with someone. I want to help someone, be a positive impact for them. Not because, it makes me feel so good about myself. I know I'm doing the right thing. I'm patting myself on the back for it. But from a place of humility. Like, are we giving charity from humility? Because if we are, we're not so proud of ourselves that we've got this huffed up chest. When we're giving with true humility, we realize it's just a drop in the bucket of what the world needs, of what is really required to make a true difference. We should be doing so much more. And if you're giving with a full heart and true humility, it's like you want to do more. You feel like, oh, this isn't enough. You don't begrudge it. You're not annoyed. You're not obligated. You're not doing it out of guilt. You're not doing it out of shame. You're not doing it because it makes you feel good or pumps you up. You're not doing it to take, right? Have you ever met someone and they give and give and give, but it just feels off and you're feeling like, there's strings attached to this. For some people, there is taking and they're giving. But there's also receiving and giving. And so when you fully give from a full heart, that's purifying negativity on your cosmic scale. That's breaking your negativity, the shells of negativity away, called klipot, and it's revealing more light of your soul. So you are receiving through giving, even if you don't see it immediately. Even if you don't see it come back in an obvious way, on a vibrational, spiritual level, that giving has given to you. It's like you're giving it straight into your spiritual bank account. When you receive with a pure heart, and not because you're taking and you're excited about getting, but you're like, oh, you don't have to do that. Okay, well, you're receiving for the sake of giving joy to that person. Like you're receiving with a pure heart. You're not taking, you're not scheming, you're not trying to see what else you can get. But you're receiving with a pure heart. You're also giving. You're giving that person an opportunity to be the blessing to you, and for them to work off to do some of their spiritual probation, spiritual public service. So Jesus said to them, if you fast, you will bring sin upon yourselves. And if you pray, you will be condemned. And if you give to charity, you will harm your spirits. So yeah, again, what is the consciousness behind your giving? Are you hoping to take something? Are you hoping to receive something back? Are you hoping to get high on the light? Are you, wanting to feel good about yourself? Like, oh, I love doing this. I love volunteering in this way. It just makes me feel so good. And it's like, well, you didn't give anything to charity because you're there because you feel so good. So you're there getting, it's like a transaction, right? So unless your consciousness and your energy are in the right places when you do these things, they're not working in your favor, or they're not positive acts like you assume they are. So when you go into any region and walk through the countryside, when people receive you, eat what they serve you, and heal the sick among them. So in Jesus's time, when he's talking to his disciples and he's getting them prepared to go out and do their thing, they are, as Hebrews, we're not supposed to be cavorting with other people and other belief systems. It would make them ritually unclean or defile them in some way socially to do so, to be seated at a table with people who were unsavory characters or of another belief system, or for instance, the Samaritans and the Hebrews, they were very similar in their beliefs, but they had these different things that kept them separate, and they kept them kind of at beef with one another. So they were very particular about only eating and breaking bread with people of their kind. And so in Kabbalah, we learn that when you are sitting at a table, your consciousness, the words that you are that are going back and forth, the energy is getting into the food. And so say somebody was cooking and they were really mad and they were talking, I'm making a meatloaf here, and they were talking to the person next to them, they're talking to somebody on the phone, and they're just rattling off purging the vessel, like giving them the business, like just evil tongue, negative, blowing off steam, venting. But they're making this meatloaf. They're putting all of that bad vibe into the meatloaf, right? So there's that. And then there's like this, I can't remember where in the Zohar, but I feel like somewhere it was like talking about, I don't think I'm just thinking of the lesson we learned from Persephone when she went into the underworld and ate the pomegranate and then was cursed to have to spend 6 months out of the year there. But there's also something from somewhere else about not eating the food of your enemy, like not eating the food of like evil, negative people, because again, that food is like stained from their evil. But however, he's saying that when you go into a region and you walk through these places, when people receive you and welcome you, that like they're not against you. So they're welcoming you. So you like go eat with them, sit at their table, be with them in their situation, relatable to them, at their table. Eat what they serve you and heal the sick among them. So receive graciously what they give you without feeling like you're going to be contaminated, right? Have a positive, generous spirit about the giving and taking and the sharing of the breaking the bread with one another at the table. Like be at peace, be in kindness, be in mutual respect and giving. Receive graciously from these people, but also give your healing gifts. So let the people nourish you, and as you serve them, you will be healing the sick among them. For what goes into your mouth will not defile you. Rather, it is what comes out of your mouth that will defile you. Now, this is literally a concept that we just talked about in my Kabbalah class that I watched over my days off. This is crazy. It has to do with evil tongue. So when they were preoccupied with eating kosher and eating things that were in alignment for them to eat, they didn't want to defile themselves by eating food that's not okay for them to eat, right? So Jesus was less concerned with ritual purity as he was with actual spiritual and energetic purity. And so he's saying, like, if you're out in a region and you don't have anything to eat and you have been, ministering with these people, they're welcoming you into their house, go in and let them feed you. Like, don't be like overly obsessed with what you're eating and if it's ritually clean and all of that. Just eat and you'll be fine. Heal their sick. Like, what is going into your mouth is not defiling you nearly as much as the negative things that we say, negative speech, things that we talk about in vain or idly, things that we say that are gossiping about other people. Obviously, when we're talking disparagingly about someone, that can create evil tongue. But even sometimes when we're talking about people in a good way, that can create evil tongue, because that can be idle speech that's just filling the air with things that are unnecessary. But also it can trigger someone's evil eye on that person. And so there could be negative consequences for bringing somebody up that's not there. So that can be evil tongue. Not speaking up in a situation where you should and you're avoiding it to like stay safe or keep the peace, that is considered evil tongue. And that, like, not saying something that you should is evil tongue. At the same time, being reactive and popping off and coming back at them and, running your mouth, giving somebody the business, like that's also evil tongue. So again, it goes back to the consciousness of where you're at. Are you emotionally triggered? Where is your consciousness? What's your intention? The intention matters more at the end of the day than the actual words that come out. But evil tongue can take years off your life. It can actually make you sick. It can prevent you from being able to heal at will, like channel miracles through. It can weaken your ability to be a conscious manifester. Like, we have the ability as human beings to speak things into being. Like, we have magical powers in our mouth. And if we did not dilute our power through evil tongue, the things that we say would manifest so fast, we would be like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. But the fact that we have such catastrophic mouths, and we're saying negative things all the time, and we're unconsciously speaking death and sickness and illness and poverty upon ourselves and on other people all the time without even realizing it, we're like running around with like a dangerous tool, right? So in my class, my teacher pointed out, if you see a 2-year-old running around with a knife, with a sharp knife, what are you going to do? You're going to go run and grab that knife away from that 2-year-old until they know how to use it properly without hurting themselves. So too, our words and our speech are very powerful. And we have the creative power, just like the Creator does, to say, let there be light over there. Let this happen. Let that happen. But how effective our words are, the power of our mouth, our ability to speak that into being, is dependent on the cleanliness of our mouth. How do we keep this portal here? Are we speaking positivity or are we speaking negativity? Are we holding back when we should be using our voice? How are we treating this portal, right? Because the better we treat it and the more positive, pure messages and words that come through, the more powerful our words are. When we can be trusted to handle that kind of responsibility and that kind of tool, we're given the ability to handle that in bits, increments, and we embody that. And when we've proven ourselves more, we're given more. But if we're constantly saying negative things, then we are downgrading our tool and we're taking all that power away because we can't be trusted with it. It's too dangerous. We could create too much damage, right? So again, all these concepts, it's like you can be doing the right action, but if you don't have the right consciousness when you're doing the action, it's not a positive action. Isn't that interesting? So having that understanding, let's read this again. Jesus said to them, if you fast, you will bring sin upon yourselves. And if you pray, you will be condemned. And if you give to charity, you will harm your spirits. When you go into any region and walk through the countryside, when people receive you, eat what they serve you and heal the sick among them. For what goes into your mouth will not defile you. Rather, it is what comes out of your mouth that will defile you. And we were talking about in class, the teacher was like, how much of the percentage of what you say, actually your words out loud, are positive versus negative? And I mean, everybody was like, yeah, probably like 70, 30, 80, 20, and on the poorer side, not, and so we all thought, oh wow, it's like, how much damage am I doing to my own health? Or into the opportunities that could be circling the runway and they're just getting like singed and burnt up by the negative words that are like sabotaging them before they can enter our atmosphere, right? So let's see, there's a couple of footnotes. Let me see if there was anything helpful here. Sometimes it's just long bibliography references. The question in Gospel of Thomas. Walk in places. Oh, walk through the countryside can also be translated as walk in places. There's a reference to Matthew 10:8, to Luke 10:8 through 9, and 1 Corinthians 10:27, and I think 36, and then Matthew 15:11 and Mark 7:15 if you want extra reading. All right, so one more time and then we're gone. Jesus said to them, "If you fast, you will bring sin upon yourselves. And if you pray, you will be condemned. And if you give to charity, you will harm your spirits. When you go into any region and walk through the countryside, when people receive you, eat what they serve you and heal the sick among them. For what goes into your mouth will not defile you. Rather, it is what comes out of your mouth that will defile you." All right, you all. That is all for tonight. We will be back together tomorrow for our weekly energy oracle forecast, where we will be getting our spiritual weather report for the week ahead. Until then, may peace be with you. Ciao.